when people suffer from addiction, it's not just the addict who suffers, but everybody is drawn into a chaotic web. Many of the patients have told me, I wasn't trying to get high. I was trying to disappear.
Tonight on a special edition of 2020.
Psychiatrist Dr. Omar Menenjwala is the medical director of the prestigious Hazelden Foundation, an addiction recovery center in Minnesota. He's one of the nation's leading experts on addiction and mental health.
Because right now, today, defeat is not enough.
Dr. Menenjwala has not treated Sheen as a patient, but because of his expertise, 2020 asked him to watch our full interview for comment.
If you are a celebrity and you have addiction, you're often surrounded by people who tell you what you want to hear, keep you from seeing the truth. In situations like that, people can sometimes be a lot sicker before they get help.
Bring me Dr. Clown Shoes. I mean, who are these people?
He doesn't like doctors, like you.
Yeah.
He doesn't like people judging him who don't know him. So he would say, what gives you the right to judge me and diagnose me?
He's got a point, because the reality is no one should make a diagnosis by watching him on video. But the other thing to say is that for people who have addiction, there can be a real profound sense of distrust of the medical community. We shouldn't expect someone who is suffering from addiction to understand, respect, and trust the medical profession. In fact, the opposite. It's our responsibility in the medical profession to reach out and try to heal those bonds.
The Charlie we're seeing now says it's all about choices. Is this a very dangerous evolution?
Yes. Whenever someone with addiction believes that they can control their behavior, believes that they're able to manage on their own without help, that can be very scary and very dangerous. The reality is that when people have addiction, it's critical to get help, and treatment works.
It's The Early Show with Harry Smith.
One of the drugs found in Jackson's rented home after his death was Diprovan. Dr. Omar Menenjwala treats people who are addicted to that, and he joins us this morning live in our studio. Good morning.
Morning.
How does that drug make people feel?
That's a mystery to some people, because mostly what Diprovan is for is to induce coma. So the idea is not to feel anything. Sometimes when people emerge from Diprovan, they do feel a sense of euphoria. And what happens with Diprovan addiction occasionally is people try to play with the doses and get the doses within a window before they induce coma.
Okay, so who typically are the people who end up addicted to it?
Well, addiction is a treatable brain disease, and in some respects, anybody is susceptible.
Right.
But with this particular agent, the people who most commonly are addicted are healthcare professionals who have access to it.
Who have access to it.
Right. Yeah.
So they know about the experience of having used it. How difficult is it for your clients to come clean after being addicted to this? Is it more difficult to be rid of than, for instance, alcohol or some other kinds of things people abuse?
Well, I think the main message is that addiction is extremely treatable, and the outcomes for this agent aren't exactly known, but in my experience they fall in line with treatment for other addictive disorders. So that is about 70 or 80% success rates.
For Omar Menenjwala, thank you very much for your
quite
information.
welcome.
Do appreciate it.
He said to me, Deepak, you know, there's something that takes you right to the edge, to the valley of death, and then brings you back.
What did he mean when he said that?
Well, that's now in hindsight, that's Diprovan, isn't it?
Diprovan produces coma, and an anesthetic coma is not the same as sleep, although there are similarities.
Yet it was Diprovan, also known as propofol, that investigators believe Jackson was injected with in the hours before his death.
Most of the addicts I've treated with Diprovan abuse or Diprovan addiction were driven to it by insomnia. Once they reach that point where they begin to use Diprovan for sleep deprivation, addiction progresses rapidly and the disease is very, very advanced.
Welcome to Al Jazeera.
The FDA has approved a device that could save victims of some drug overdoses. It's an automatic injector that contains naloxone, which is an antidote for opioid overdose. And give us a sense of how this decision from the FDA could impact the battle to deal with overdoses.
Sure, thanks, Libby. Yeah, you know, overdoses are epidemic. It's staggering. You know, we've had
16,000 overdoses per year, and that's more than the combined total for cocaine and heroin. Now we have more people dying from overdoses on these pills than even for motor vehicle accidents. So this is really epidemic, and it's a uniquely American epidemic. This latest move from the FDA really represents another very important tool that will save lives.
Once addiction develops, the use becomes compulsive. And what they're trying to do is blot out the experience of life in some way. They use in order to magically disappear, if you will.